Good evening all. Today we will be having a session on human resource management. When we talk about human resource management, then we are talking about that employee force which is working in an organization, and whenever we talk about employee force, it means that we are talking about those skilled persons who are working in an organization, and they are the core important aspect of an organization, because until unless you are having a good human resource force with you, then your organization cannot go up or it cannot touch the height of success. So to have a good profit, to have a goodwill in the market, to have good reputation, to have good production, to have good production unit, we must have a good human resource force with us, and that force will remain good until unless it is managed also. If an organization does not manage its human resources very well, then it becomes very tough for that organization to survive in that particular economy or to survive in the society, because human resource are those core concepts or basics of an organization which carries the pros and cons of an organization. If an organization is satisfying its human resources very well, then that particular force will be carrying a good word of mouth in the society. But if an organization is not able to manage its human resource, then the things will not be in a disciplined manner, and everything will be in a haphazard or scattered manner, and persons will not be able to know what they have to perform, which function has to be performed by which person. So these all things in a gist or in a conclusion we can say that it includes human resource management. Human resource management includes all aspects of the employees of an organization which are required, which are the basics, which are the core underlying for the success of an organization. So let's coming to introduction to human resource management. Human resource management means the collection of people and their characteristics at work. These are distinct and unique to an organization in several ways. Now, when we talk about human resource management, it doesn't mean that every organization requires the same type of human resource. Every organization requires the human resource as per the nature of work, as per the nature of organization. The skills of human resource varies from organization to organization. Suppose I am a manufacturing concern, then the skills which are required in my human resource will be different. If I am a service concern, then the skills required in my human resource will also be different. So it depends upon organization to organization that what type of human resource with which skills are required by your organization. So to have a good human resource, this is the first thing which is to be required is characteristics of an employee. The employee must possess all those qualities, all those characteristics which are required to perform the job in that particular organization. So here, as I have said, human resource means the collection of people and their characteristics at work. That what characteristics they are having. Are they having the same characteristics which are required to perform that particular work or not? Because if work is different and the characteristics of the people is different, then it will be very difficult to make a balance between the two. It will be very difficult to achieve the organizational goals, because characteristics and work when same, then only goals can be achieved. Moving to the next point, human resource definition. Human resources are a whole consisting of interrelated, interdependent and interacting psychological, sociological and ethical components as said by Michael J. Jusius. It says that what is human resource? Human resource is basically a combination of psychological, combination of sociological, combination of interdependent, combination of interacting and ethical components. Because if you are not having a psychological balance, then you are not a good human resource for an organization. Psychological balance means that what you think, what you act, and how you act should be in a very balanced manner. Because if you are actions are not balanced, your words are not balanced, and you are mentally not balanced, then it will be very difficult for an employee to survive in an organization, sociological, because we have to work in a group. Every organization works in a group, and none of the employee can do the work on at an individual level. He cannot say that I will be able to perform all the work individually. No, we have to work in a group, we have to work in a team. So if you are sociologically updated, you are sociologically satisfied, you are sociologically comfortable, then only you will be able to work in that particular group or team. Otherwise it will be very difficult. So these are the basic requirement for a human resource of an organization, because the work will also be interdependent, the work will also be interacting, and the work will also be depending on both physiological, psychological and sociological aspect. So what you have to do is, you have to cover all these aspects. Next slide says, having good talent people in the organization was important yesterday, but today it is critical. Yes, earlier we were thinking only about good talent. In the previous years or in the past years, what we are doing, we were talking about only and only good talent. But now, in the current scenario, only good talent does not work. You must also be psychologically and sociologically fit. If you are psychologically and sociologically fit, then you are a good human resource for an organization. But if you are lacking any of these, then it will be very difficult for you to survive in an organization. So, to survive in an organization, only talent doesn't matter, your psychological and sociological aspects are very important. Now, coming to the next slide, what is HRM or Human Resource Management? Human Resource Management is the planning, organizing, directing and controlling of the procurement, development, compensation, integration, maintenance and separation of human resources to end that individual, organization and social objectives are accomplished. Now when we talk about human resource management, then we are talking about a totally comprehensive task, a totally complete task which will be covering every aspect which are related to a human resource. Because if your human resource force or your employees are not well satisfied and any aspect of your employees will be untouched or remain dissatisfied, then it will be very difficult for you to maintain a balance between your human resource and your organizational goals. So to avoid that, we have to plan our human resource. Plan our human resource means that at every time what human resource are needed. Are we lacking of any skills? Are we lacking of employees? Are we lacking of number of employees? Should be increased or they should be decreased, whatsoever. So this planning has to be done. Then organizing means that the total human force or the total human task should work in an organized manner. Organized here we can say systematic manner, because until unless your human resources are organized properly, they are working in a systematic manner, then they will be not able to know that which function has to be performed by whom. So organizing means that your employees should be arranged in a systematic manner and they must be knowing their functions, that what they have to perform. Until unless we are aware about our working conditions, until unless we are aware about the job to be performed, it will be very difficult for us to continue with our working. Then it's directing. Directing means giving instructions. No employee can work without getting instructions from its superior. So the main important task is giving instructions, or we can say giving command to the employees, because whenever an employee joins your organization, he is a newcomer or he is fresh for a particular organization. He or she has to be guided. He or she has to be given proper instructions, command, and according to those instructions and command, he or she will work. So directing is also one of the very important tasks of HRM, and direction must be given in such a manner that the person should not be confused. He or she must be knowing that from whom he will be getting the directions, instructions, command, and how he has to perform according to that particular instruction or command. Then we can say, and controlling of the procurement. Procurement means recruitment. we have to recruit more and more people. Then how these peoples are to be recruited, from where we have to recruit the peoples, where we should add, where we should give our advertisement, and what would be the right place for our procurement, or we can say the best place for our procurement. Because if we are not selecting, if we are not getting our human resource from any particular good place, best place, then we will be not having a good human resource force for us. And if an organization is lacking in good human resource force, then that organization will be very difficult to get success, or it will be very difficult for that particular organization to achieve its or accomplish its organizational goals. So procurement of employees or procurement of new human resource is also a very difficult task. Then development, compensation. Development means training and development. We have to develop and train our human resource time to time, because as you know, as the time passes, things also change, technology also change, and we have to adapt ourselves according to that change technology or develop technology. But for adaptation, what you have to do, you have to train and develop your workforce, because if your workforce will not be getting proper development and training at every particular time, then it will be very difficult for one to continue with new technologies, to continue with new services, or to continue with new methods of doing the job. So for doing all this, what you require training and development, and that is also a part of human resource management. Compensation. Compensation means salary. Compensation, that important financial aspect for a human resource, for which a human resource is doing or striving hard, because everyone work for salary, everyone work for compensation, and mostly for financial incentives. And compensation includes all those things which are required, which are included in your financial incentives. Because if financial incentives are not satisfying, then employee will also be not working very well for an organization. So what you have to do, you have to keep upgrading the compensation policies of your organization, because if compensation policies are updated or upgraded time to time, then the employees will be giving us more output, or we will be getting maximum output from our employees. Then next we come to integration. Integration means making a bond between employer and employees, because employer and employee are those two end of a C of an organization which should move in an integrated manner. If both of them or any of them is dissatisfied, then it will be very difficult, or it will be very critical, or it will be very tough for an organization to achieve its organizational goals. Either employer or the employee, they both should be very much satisfied. They both should be very much contented with the working of the organization. If employee is not satisfied with the employer, or employer is not satisfied with the employee, then it becomes very tough to manage things in an organization. So to have a good combination, to have a good integration policies, what we have to do, we have to manage the things in such a manner that both employee and employer are very much satisfied, and they are having a good bond among them. Good bond among them, because this bond will be working as a, we can say profit earning, or it will be working as a success earning steers for an organization. The organization will be able to touch the heights of success very easily if both of them are very much satisfied. Next we come to maintenance and substitution of human resources. Maintenance. Yes, maintenance means that the facilities provided to the human resource, because if the facilities provided to the human resource are not very much good, or they are not updated time to time, then it becomes a very big cause of dissatisfaction among the human resource. So to make your human resource satisfied and contented, you have to upgrade your policies, you have to upgrade your maintenance level for the employees, and the facilities provided to the employees, the working conditions given to the employees, the machineries, tools, everything, equipments you are providing to the employees should be of good quality, and they should be maintained. So it is another very important factor of human resource management, that maintenance is very, very important, because if the things are not well maintained, then we will not having a smooth working. So to avoid any this such kind of problem, what we have to do is we have to maintain the things in a proper manner. Next, separation of human resources to end that individual, organization, social objectives are accomplished. And next, what we have to do, we have to make our human resource so much separated that they will be knowing about their individual, organization and social objectives as accomplished. Because if your employees, your human resource are not very well familiar with your objectives, then they will be not helping you out in achieving those objectives. So if you want that your employee force or your workforce should help you out in achieving your organizational objectives, then the thing you have to do is you have to maintain a good level of maintenance, a good level of compensation, a good level of bonding between employers and employees, so that at every level, because if I talk about organization level, I talk about individual level, I talk about social level, we have different objectives. Where if suppose I am talking as an individual, then when I'll be achieving my individual objectives, then those will be helping me out to achieve organizational objectives. And when we will be able to achieve our organizational objectives, then we will achieve our social objectives. So it is a interlinked process. Individual objectives are attached with organizational objectives, and organizational objectives are attached with social objectives. But unless your employees are favoring you or they are helping you out in achieving these objectives, an organization will not be achieved its organizational objectives or accomplish its organizational objectives. Coming to the next, human resource management is a definition given by Edwin B. Filippo. Edwin B. Filippo says that human resource management concerned with policies and practices that ensure the best use of the human resource for fulfilling the organizational and individual goals. Simply, Edwin B. Filippo simply says that human resource management is nothing. It is only those policies and practices which are making that we are ensuring the best use of our human resource. We are making maximum output of from our human resource, and how? By fulfilling our organizational and individual goals. Because until unless you are providing resources to the human resource or your employees, they will be not able to accomplish either individual or organizational goals. So Edwin B. Filippo says that you have to do nothing. Only in human resource management, what you have to do, you have to make such policies and practices that ensure best use of human resources, and for what? For fulfilling the organization and individual goals. Because if human resource will not be used up to the maximum or up to the best, then we will be not able to achieve either individual or organizational goals. So this was the definition given by Edwin B. Filippo about human resource management. Next, characteristics of HR, or we can say features of HR. Now, when we talk about characteristics of or features of any particular topic, then we are discussing about those important concerns which are the main content of that particular topic. Fine. Characteristics or nature means that important content which are to be present in that particular topic, or which is to be present in that particular activity. So in the same manner, when we talk about characteristics of human resource management, the first point says it is people oriented. People oriented means that whenever we are talking about human resource management, then we are talking about all those people who are working in that particular organization for achieving the organizational goals or for achieving the individual goals. Because if we are not concerned, if we are not inclined towards people, then human resource management cannot be done very well. Human resource, what is human resource? Human resource management basically means the management of employees or the management of people working in an organization. So, human resource management has to be people oriented, because if it does not think about people, then it will be not able to satisfy that workforce, employee force which is working in that particular organization. So, to satisfy those people, we have to be people oriented, and for this only all the practices, all the plans, all the policies which are to be made according to HR, they are always people oriented. Because we are making those policies, we are making that practices for people who are working in an organization. Second, action oriented. Action oriented means that if we come up with any problem or if we are adding anything new, then that should be action oriented. That action should be taken. If I want that my human resource or my employees should work on computer from this time onwards, so they will be able to work on computer only when they will be given proper training regarding how to work on computer. Because if training and development sessions are not organized for the employees of an organization, then it becomes very difficult for employees to adapt any new, to come up with any new thing. They will be not able to work on computers, and if they will be feeling any kind of problem, if they are not able to work on computers, then they will be not able to give their maximum output, and if they are not giving their maximum output, then it will be very tough for organization to earn profit or to reach success. So action oriented means that if you find any kind of problem, then that problem should be solved at that very time when you come to know about it. If you found anything that has to be newly added, then employees should be properly trained and developed, and then only new addition should be done. Because if new addition is done but they are not trained and developed, then it becomes very tough for employee to work on new technologies and techniques. Individual oriented means that we have to keep in mind about every employee. About every employee we have to keep in mind. We cannot skip any of our employee or human resource of an organization, because if we are skipping anyone, then it means that that particular person will be finding himself aloof, and he will be not cooperating, and he will be not able to give his best for accomplishment of individual goals or organization goals. So HRM should keep into mind, or HRM should be concerned about each and every employee, because unless you are concerned about each and every employee, then it becomes very tough for you to satisfy or for you to bring best out of each and every employee. Each and every employee will contribute to your organization goals only when he or she find himself to be the considered or to be having a concern from organizational point of view also. Development oriented, yes, because if we develop our employees, unless we develop our workforce or employee force, then the development of organization is also not possible. So development oriented means that HRM should also have an eye on the development of the employees, because if employees are developed, then only organization will be developed. Otherwise it will be very difficult for an organization to get developed, because when employees are not updated, employees are not having recent techniques, present technologies, they are not aware with what is going on in the society right now, then how they will be giving updated things to the organization? And when they will be not giving updations to the organization, then how that particular organization will be developed. So for this, what we have to do, we have to keep updating, we have to keep developing our employees. Then pervasive function. Pervasive function means that it exists everywhere. If I talk about lower level, HRM exists. If I talk about middle level, HRM exists. If I talk about top level, HRM exists. So HRM is such a function which exists at every level and at everywhere, because in an organization, if I talk about lower, middle, upper, any level of management, then it will be considering of employees. It will be considering of peoples. It will be considering of men. And what HRM is doing? HRM is managing men, people or employees. Because if you are not managing employees of your organization, then HRM is useless. A good HRM practice means that your employees are totally satisfied and they are not feeling aloof at all. They are feeling to be a member of that particular team who is working to achieve individual or organizational goals. So HRM has to exist at every level of management. We cannot escape any level, we cannot escape any people, we cannot escape even a single employee of an organization. HRM should have such an aspect that it should cover each and every employee. The problems of each and every employee should be discussed. They should be known to the HRM people, because if we are not knowing about the problems, we will not able to give solutions to the employee, and a dissatisfied employee does not contribute in the achievement of organizational goals. Next, continuous function. Continuous function means that never ending. HRM is such a function which is never ending. We cannot say that yes, after 1 week HRM will be not existing. No, it's not like that. HRM will be a continuous function because an organization needs every time updation, every time training programs, development programs, and compensation, financial incentives, non-financial incentives. Many things has to be discussed in an organization, and they keep on. It's a chain. It's a chain. We cannot say that HRM is for a particular time period. No, it's not like that. HRM will be for every time. Till the organization goes, HRM also goes. Once organization vanished, then only HRM will be getting vanished. Otherwise, until unless the organization will be surviving, till that moment HRM function will also be surviving, because organization cannot survive without people, organization cannot survive without employees. So when people or employees are there in an organization, HRM should also be there. HRM cannot be vanished or it cannot get disappear. Next, future oriented. Whenever we are thinking about human resource management, then we are thinking about managing the human resource in the present, but at the same time we have to think about the future also. Because if you are planning for future today only, then only in the coming time you will be able to accomplish your organizational goals. Because if you are not planning your future, then you will be not able to do anything in the coming future. In the coming years, what you will be doing? Because we have not planned anything. Why planning has to be done? Planning has to be done only so that we will be having work in our future, and our future should be planned. We have to only take the action. We don't have to plan the future at that time when we reach. Suppose I have to plan for 2026. Then if I am planning for 2026 in 2024, then it's okay. But if I am planning for 2026 in 2026 itself, then it is useless, because at time it is not the time to plan, it is the time to execute or implement the policies or plans which we have made. Next, challenging functions. Yes, challenges. HRM is full of challenges because every person has its own mindset, every person has its own problem, every person has its own thought process, its own thinking. So, dealing with n number of people, dealing with n number of thinking, dealing with n number of problems and providing the solution is really a challenge. So, HRM is a challenging task, and the most challenging task is satisfying everyone. You have to satisfy everyone, because if I come up with some query and I doesn't get a satisfactory answer and I am not satisfied, then my word of mouth will be negative regarding the organization. So what HRM has to do? HRM has to satisfy each and every problem of an employee, and employee has their different problem. None, we can say that all the employees are having the same problem. Every employee has its own problem. So we have to satisfy. Challenging function, yes. So it is very challenging HRM because you have to deal with various types of problems and have to give various solutions, and with satisfaction level also, because employees if not satisfied, then it is a very great problem for an organization. A dissatisfied employee does not give its best or maximum to the organization. Science as well as art. Science as well as art. Why HRM is said to be science and art both? Because HRM is having some theories which has to be implemented, and HRM requires an art. That's why we say that every manager is having a different skill, a different art. Every manager cannot be counted as same. My skills as a manager are different, second person's skill as a manager can be different. We cannot say that every HR or every HR manager is having same skill set. No, it's not like that. So HRM is a combination of both science and art, when science and art both are combined together in an excellent manner. Excellent manner means when the theories laid down in HRM are implemented very well with art of satisfaction and with art of convincing. If you are not having that particular art, employees are never convinced. So HR manager should have both. He must know how to implement those theories, and at the same time he or she must have an art to convince the employee. Suppose if I launch a new technology, new technique, and if I am not able to convince my employees that we should use, it will be beneficial for an organization, and my employees are not ready to adapt the changes, then it means I am not having that convincing power or convincing art which is required by an HR manager. Staff function means that you have to make a coordination between all the employees. All the employees, whether from lower level to upper level, they are interconnected into a chain, and that chain should not be broken, because once the chain has been broken, it becomes very tough to knot the tie. And if that particular series or that particular order of chain is broken, then a passing of information or receiving of information becomes very tough, and the understanding of the people also get disturbed. So we have to maintain that understanding, we have to maintain that coordination or bond between all the employees, whether from top level or from lower level. So this is what is staff function. Then young discipline. Young discipline means that your employees should be very well disciplined. Because if your employees are not disciplined, it means that you are not showing a good level of management, you are not showing a good level of presence, you are not showing a good level of particularly, coming on time, performing your work very well. So discipline includes all those things which are required for a good management, and which shows that your employees are very well managed. So to make your employees a well managed task force, what you have to do, you have to implement a good discipline. You have to come up with a proper, your systematic things should be written clearly. Your plans, your practices, your process, your system should be so clear to the employees that they should follow it very easily. They must not be confused. They must never be ambiguous that what to do and how to do. Because once the employees are confused and they are not understanding or getting the things done, it becomes very tough to bring discipline in an organization. And a well managed organization is the best organization. Then nervous system. Nervous system, here we does not talk about our mind system, or we are not talking about any medical terminologies. Nervous system means that HR manager should have a good hold on the nerves of the employees. Nerves of the employees doesn't mean that control with strong, your bad behavior, you are talking very rudely. No, nervous system means that with your polite and good behavior, you must have a control on the nerves of your employees, and they must follow you. Whatever you ask them to do, they must do it very easily and at one time, at one stroke. It doesn't mean that you have to speak very rudely, very toughly to your employees. No, it doesn't mean. It means that you must have a good command on their nerves that they should be following you. Only requirement is to follow you. That what instructions you are giving to them, they are easily understanding. What you want them to do, they are doing that thing. They are never, they are obeying you. They are following your rules, regulations, and at that same time, they are not denying for your any of the work. For any of the job of the organization, they are not denying. They are ready to, because sometimes it happens that we have to stay half an hour, 1 hour more than our normal office hours. It will be done if your employees or your employees are following you and you are having a good command on them. So this is nervous system. Next we come to objectives of HRM. Objectives of HRM means that why we should have human resource management. Let it be. Let it be. Let your employees come into your organization, start their work, have their lunch and go in the evening. Let them go. What they feel like, let them do. They want to come at 10 a.m. in the morning, it's okay. They want to come at 9 a.m. in the morning, it's okay. They want to have their lunch at 12 p.m., okay. At 1 p.m., okay. But this thing will be making the organization totally indisciplined and mismanaged. So, to avoid this indiscipline and mismanagement, what we have to do? We have to set some objectives of HRM. That's why before implementing HRM, we have decided some objectives, and those objectives should be achieved by a good HRM force, by a good HR manager. If you are not having a good HR manager, then achieving group goals, achieving individual goals, accomplishing of organizational goals is very, very tough. So let's have an eye on the objectives of HRM. To act as a liaison between the top management and the employees. HR, human resource management, is a linking pin, or we can say it is a chain between top level and employees, because employees cannot come up with their things directly to the top management, and top management every time cannot come up with their information or message directly to the employees or lower management. We have someone, a linking pin or an agent we can say, or a liaising member we can say, who will be acting as a chain between the two. If top level wants to send any information to the employees, or employees want to send any information to the top level, then that agent can be used, and that is HR. Because sending information from top level to lower level doesn't mean that the language or the instructions or the policies which have been made or directed to the lower level from the top level can be easily understood. No, it's not compulsory that they will be easily understanding. Sometimes we have to convert the message. We have to make the things understandable and easy so that employees can be understanding very well. So for that, our first objective is that HR manager should act as a liaising agent between the top level and lower level. Next, to arrange and maintain adequate manpower inventory, because HR manager is keeping the record, or we can say he is the stock maintenance person of employees. So at any time we should not have lack of employees. Our production or our work should not suffer due to lack of employees. So to avoid this, HR manager has to perform in such a manner that every time its stock must be updated. Because in an organization, it does not require same type of persons or employees. Some are required for finance, some are required for marketing, some are required for production, some are required for HR. But HR manager must have full updated knowledge regarding the presence of the employees, that how many employees are present right now and how many can be required in the coming future, so that an inventory can be maintained, our data bank can be maintained, and calls can be done to those prospects who are eligible candidates for job in the organization. Next we come to devise employee benefit schemes. Employee benefit schemes means we can say provident fund schemes, leaves schemes, compensatory schemes, or any kind of other schemes which are for the benefit of the employees. Now, these schemes are to be devised by HR manager only, because top level management cannot involve itself in various tasks. He can do limited tasks at a time. So whenever you feel like that any kind of new policies should be devised, any kind of new plans should be devised, any new practices should be devised, then it comes to HR manager. Now HR manager is held responsible to devise new schemes, whether financial or non-financial. It can be, but it should be in the benefit of the employee. So devising such schemes is also work of objective of HR. To ensure and enhance the quality of work life. Quality of work life means that the environment of an organization. The environment of an organization should be very much adequate. It must be like that. Employees should never feel that what we are doing here, why we are working in such a bad environment. This type of feeling should not come any time in the mind of the employee. Employee should be always happy with the working of the organization. He or she must be so much satisfied that whenever you talk about the organization, the employee should say, yes, it's very good, environment is very good, policies are very good, practices are very good, and each and every employee is satisfied. This is the most important task. Next, to offer training. Training and development, as I have talked earlier also, training and development are must for an employee, because if you want your employee to be enhanced and updated with the present scenario, with the present market conditions, with the present society, then regular training and development should be given, because these training and development will be keeping your employees updated and upgraded. Next, to help keep up ethical values and behavior among employees both within and outside the organization. Here we are talking about ethical values and behavior means moral values. Moral values and behavior should be so much, or should be inculcated in an employee in such a manner that he should behave properly either within the organization or outside the organization. Because once you are having ethical and moral behavior into yourself, then it means that you will be very much profitable and beneficial for the society, because your act, your words, your actions will never be hurting anyone, whether outside the organization or inside the organization. And such lessons or such values should be given by HR manager to the employees. To maintain high morale and good human relations within the organization, that high morale means that employees should be always confident, full of confidence and motivated. They must be fully motivated that we have to work with for this organization with full dedication, and we have to give our best to the organization. And second thing, human relation. Human relation means that the relations of employees among themselves. Because if the relations of employees are not good among themselves, then they will be not able to work in a coordinate manner. So, to make them work in a orderly manner, what you have to do is you have to make such a relation within every employee that they should be having a feel of, a sense of belongingness regarding the organization and regarding the employees. Fine. So, this is what are the main objectives of. Thank you. So, what you have to do, we'll be discussing you next.